Hey guys, Amy here with Leap of Faith Crafting. Thanks so much for stopping by. So today I am doing a series of using my xTool screen printer. So I have another one for you, and this time we're going to use two colors. So we're going to use two different screens. I'm going to show you how to line it up, what to do within the xTool software that you need to do to calibrate it. And then I'm going to show you how to make these cute little just patriotic pouches that are fun to put in if you're having a 4th of July party and you want to give out little goodie bags, or you can make them around Christmas time to put in gifts, teacher appreciation, all sorts of different things. I'm just doing, we have 4th of July coming up, so I decided to do a 4th of July one. So I will link in the description below the actual zipper pouches that I got, and then we will go through, show you how to do the screens and print. And then I'm just using the xTool selected screen printing ink in red and in blue that came with my pack. I'm using two screens, and if you need help on how to put the screen on the frame, I will link a video below that you can watch that. I've done it in 2 of the previous videos, so you can check that one out. And then you just need the squeegee that comes with it and a pen. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to jump into the xTool software and show you how to design these. I'm going to show you real quick how to bring this in and change a few things. You'll notice that this is actually has my F1, so it's smaller. It's just I'm on a different computer, but we are in the xTool creative space. Okay, and this is within Creative Fabric, and I'm using 2 different images, and I will link both of these below. But since I have the yearly subscription, I just click on the downloads and then click on extract all, so it extracts everything out of the zip files that are downloaded. And then when I'm going to go back into xTool, I'm going to click on image, and I'm going to double click on this, and I'm going to add the SVG. I am on a PC, so it comes off. The SVG always comes up as Microsoft Edge. So I'm going to drag that in. Okay, and then I'm going to upload the other one. So I'm going to go back up to the uploads and click on that sunglasses. Okay, so a few things to do here. So I want, since we're using the screen print, I want these actually engraved. So it's a filled in engraving. So I'm going to set this to engrave, and I'm actually going to get rid of a couple of the layers. I only want to use 2 colors. So I'm going to click on that purple, and I'm actually just going to hit my backspace. So I'm going to delete that off, and then I want this actually the same color as this blue. So I'm going to click on this layer 4, and then I'm going to say move to, and then I'm going to move this to the blue. Okay, so now it's the same color as that blue. Okay, and then I want to do the same thing for this. I'm going to set this to engrave, and click on this one and set this one to engrave, and just going to group these together so I don't move them around just by dragging my cursor over both of those and group it. Okay, so now you'll see I have those 2 layers. Okay, and then when I do the 2 different screens, I'm going to actually ignore one of the layers, which up here on this right panel is where you're going to hit the ignore and the output. And then I'm just going to add a couple stars. So I'm going to click on shape, click on a star, and then click engrave. So engraves. Make it blue. And then I'm just going to duplicate this a bunch of times by hitting my Control C and my Control V. Okay, so I have some stars. Okay, and now we're going to go into other computer and calibrate everything. So that's just how I brought it in here and changed it to just the 2 layers. With the screen printer, it came with this long thing, and what this does is it actually goes underneath this to hold the screens in place for when we do the multi-layer. So we're just going to lift this up, and there's the 2 holes, and that's where the legs of the tool are going to fit in. Okay, so when they're in, this is locked in place, and you can see that it has these 2 pegs in here. So when we put in the screen that is ready to go, we will push it up till it is locked on those pegs. Okay, so then we get the same placement for each screen. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is, within our xTool creative space, we need to do a calibration since we're using our screen printer. So anytime I turn this over here, our drop down to screen print, this is gonna pop up. So I have not done it yet. Okay, so I'm gonna connect this one. Let's put this on the coated screen. And I'm sorry, I'm out in my garage because this is smelly, so not normally where I film. So we're gonna do the origin calibration. Click this back to origin button. Okay, and then we're gonna hit next. Okay, so we're gonna position this in here. All the way in there. So honestly, we're gonna learn this together. I'm not quite sure if it wants the crosshairs of the X right there, or if it wants where the actual middle of the laser, because my laser is a little bit to the right of mine. So we are going to actually put it right where my X goes, so it's meeting on the sides there, and we are gonna keep it there. Okay, so once you do the calibration, you'll notice that this green rectangle comes up, and that is where our screen is. I haven't decided what I am doing with all these stars yet, so I'm just gonna move them out of the way. Okay, and I kind of want that like that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and grab all this, and I'm gonna group this together just so I can move it around and resize it. Okay, so the next thing I am going to do, so this is the actual center of our screen. I am going to just insert a rectangle, and this is more just so I can size it to my zipper pouch. So my zipper pouch of where I want it to be is actually, oops, the height is about 4 inches. I'll remeasure here again. So it's about 4 by about 7 is what I'm going to make my rectangle. So I'm actually going to unlock this and make this 7 inches. Okay, we will lock that back up. Okay, so this is the 4 by 7. So now I'm going to put this in here so I can size it a little bit better. Kind of see how I want it to look on there. See if I want a few more stars. Something like that. So you can see here I have 2 layers. I hid my 3rd layer because it was black. I have the red layer, and then I have my blue layer. I'm going to actually change some of these stars to red though. Let's see. So I'm just going to I'm going to click on one, hold down my control. No, it's actually I need to ungroup. I'm going to ungroup this again so I can grab Okay, so I'm just gonna hold down my shift and grab some stars here that I want to turn red. Okay, and then down here on the layer, I'm gonna click move to, and I'm gonna hit that red layer. Okay, so those turn to the red. Let's see if I like where those are. Okay, so I kind of like how that is now, okay? So now I'm gonna go ahead and drag my cursor over everything, and actually I don't want the box. So now that I have everything sized, I'm just gonna delete that box. Go ahead and drag over there and click on group. Okay, so I don't have any words, so I don't need to worry about mirroring this, but if you have any words, the screen printer is kind of like iron on vinyl. It's upside down, so you want to mirror it. But I'm just gonna, well, let's go ahead and mirror it just to show you. So I'm just gonna go ahead and come up to reflect and reflect that horizontally. So that's a mirror setting. Okay, so now we are gonna do 2 of these so we can screen print 2 at a time. So I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate this. I can copy and paste just my shortcut settings. Okay, so the one thing I need to make sure, since we're doing 2 screens, is on layer 2, which I have selected right now, which is the blue layer, I'm gonna come up here and actually hit ignore, because I don't want it to cut that layer. I'm only wanting it to do layer 1 right now, which is all the red. So you can see over here, it's all set to engrave. And since I have it, and it's set to the output, and it has everything for the screen. Okay, so the framing just brings it up to the corner. So we will see how this goes. Actually, I'm actually gonna rotate these. Just so when I do the screen printing, it goes the long way. So I'm gonna do 2 bags. So this is gonna take a long time to screen print. That's the one thing, that's why I brought it outside. It does take a long time. Okay, so the one thing I always forget to do on this machine is to measure the distance. So you wanna make sure you get that, push down the measure. Since I've only done screen printings on here, it's luckily set to where it needs to be. But you wanna make sure that you measure it, and then you drop your laser up or down to where this point is just touching it, and then we're gonna put it back up. So I just hit that framing again to start it, and then we're gonna hit that start button and click on my go button. Okay, so then we'll come back when we need to switch the frames out and do that then. Okay, so this is still going. We are at about 46 minutes. We're on that bottom one. So I just did a quick workout while this is going. So getting pretty close, maybe another 10 minutes or so, and then I will switch my print. Okay, so it just finished. It's going back to the starting point. So that took 59 minutes. So just an hour to do these 2. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and carefully remove this. So you can see how the laser went through those right there. And it actually doesn't look like it totally centered in the middle of this. but that's fine. For the pouches, I will figure out where they're gonna be on the board before we do those. Okay, so next screen is going in. And again, if you need help with putting the screens together, I will link a video below of how to do that. I have 2 other videos on that I did that one, and this one I just wanted to do the multi-layer. So I'm gonna go ahead and set that down, push that in those 2 holes. Okay, with the screen up, and then we want to go back and change our output and input. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click OK, and then we're going to come back in here. So I just did layer 2. Actually, my layer 2, you can see it said ignore, so I'm going to go ahead and put output on that one, and then on my layer 1 that had output, I'm going to go ahead and ignore that one. Okay, so now we're going to come through and do the blue one, which is the top of the lips, because I know I just did the bottom one, which was the red. So I have this one again on output, my other layer on ignore, so it will not do that. Everything else is the same. I'm going to go ahead and hit that process button. I put the start point there. So I'm just going to leave everything the same so I know that it's going to line up. My next one, I'd probably maybe start in the middle, and maybe that would center it more, but again, something I'm still messing with all this stuff too. But I'm going to go ahead and click on start here, and then I'm going to click my button on my machine. And let this one go, and I'm sure this one's going to take another hour, and then we'll go ahead and start screen printing. Okay, so this finally stopped. This one took an hour and 26 minutes to complete. And go ahead and pull that out. Okay, so now we're over on our press here. So our screens again go in those 2 hooks that we had lined up before, go in up on the top, and then we turn those over to make sure that they're pressed in. Okay, so since my pouches have that zipper, and if I lay it flat and try to squeegee over it, I'm gonna hit that and won't get a good press. So what I'm gonna do, I just cut 2 pieces of, I have chipboard, but you can use cardboard or something that will fit inside. And so this makes it stick up, so I won't hit that zipper part of it. And also helps so that the paint doesn't go all the way through the back. So I have 2 of those with these inside. So now what I want to do is line these up under here. And the sticky blue mat underneath it helps me hold this in place. And I just want to okay, so that looks pretty centered for where I have it. So then I'm going to put the second one underneath here. Okay, so once I have these how I want it, let's move it here so you can see. Okay, so I have these lined up how I want it, and when I press it down, this is where it's centered. So I'm going to, it comes with these, so I can put these at the corners so I know exactly where the next one will go. So once I have it down, I'm going to just unscrew this and press it all the way down as hard as it goes and tighten it back up. Okay. So then I'm going to put some paint, and we are on the red. So I'm going to put red on it first. So I have the red paint, and it looks kind of pinky. So we will see when it dries. Oops. If it goes to red. So now I'm going to put some paint up over the top of this one. And this one. Okay, so the paint spreads across the whole image. Okay, I'm gonna get my squeegee. I'm gonna hold this down. Okay, and we're gonna rub it through. And rub this one through, and I can see it did not go all the way across there. So we'll rub that. And I can see it didn't do the stars on the top very well. And I think that is because that has kind of a, oops. A lip on it. Okay, so you can see those look good. Just use my embossing gun, kind of dry it off. I'm going to take my top screen off. So, just going to take all of this off. I'm going to pull out this screen. Okay, we are going to stick our next screen in. Tighten that up. But we are going to switch to our blue. Okay, so this one, I'm just going to do one press. One go through. I was doing a little bit more than one. I'm going to do one and look at it, because supposedly one should do the trick. So, and go through once, and if I lift it up, it did pretty good. And even if you like the distressed, actually that kind of looks cool because it makes it look older. And go through that one, and that one came out pretty cool. So this one, like I said, has a little bit of distress, so it didn't go all the way through, but I kind of like that, so I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to dry these guys off a little bit. Take those out so we can use it again. But there we go. So I'm just going to make sure that this dries fully, and then I can put in some cute stuff to give out as 4th of July favors, or just to kind of keep for yourself. Fun little bags that you can make a bunch of them at one time. We're just going to do blue first on this one, and the outline of the glasses is blue, so I was thinking that it was probably better that the red was underneath, but we'll see if we can line it up. Okay, do a little bit more on that bottom, but since I already pressed that red one, you can see that the red came off of it. Good. Okay. And just make sure you put the paint back in the container. Okay, and we're gonna remove this. Okay, and put the red on. Just gonna dry this a little bit. So you can see I got a little bit too much blue paint up in that one. So it closed in some of the stars. Okay, so got that one on. Okay. Do one pass through. Lined up perfectly. And I think since I started below, I can see that that didn't pass all the way through because there's still some paint. So I think because there's a dip down here in between where it's lifted. So there you go, a quick way to make a bunch of different ones. And like I said, I kind of like the distressed look that the color's not all the way through it. So then we can just keep switching out and putting more on. Okay, so I hope that helped getting started with using the two different colors on the xTool screen printer. You know, it takes a little bit to get used to of using, you know, getting the calibration and things like that. But once we have these screens done, I'm just gonna go ahead and wash them out, and then you can hang them up or keep them somewhere, and I can pull these out anytime to do it. So that's the nice thing about once it's done, it's done. It does take a long time to do the screens. Once the screens are done, we're good to go. Okay, so anyway, thanks so much for stopping by, and happy crafting.